Good evening, it's me, it's Johnny Boy. Those cheeks are rosy now. It's been a cold day today. As soon as you come into the heat, it warms your cheeks up. Anyway, just want to say a big thanks to everyone who's subscribed to the channel lately, and they keep hitting that like button and keep hitting that notification button. But most of all, keep subscribing to the channel. We want to get to 30,000, and I only can do it with your help. But look, many thanks. If you need any help, just drop us an email. I'll try and get back to all of you. It's info@greentoplandscapes.co.uk. Please keep subscribing. Enjoy the video.
So we're going to dig to Australia here?
Yeah, that's a good point actually. And no, that's good. That's good. I didn't even say that. I didn't even actually film it then. So when we talk about depth of dig, people always say, what should you have for a pedestrian area or a patio? And generally, the general consensus is, and even if you don't believe it, but the general consensus is, if you look at forums and standards, is that it's 100mm sub base, then your bedding course, 1.5 inches, 2 inches, and then your slab, so it's about 8 inches. But what you've got to remember is that in this case is, and like I always say, the depth of the dig out will depend on the dig. The depth of the sub base depends on the dig. So if you look at here now, that's been quite, what does it be?
Well, it's soft, it's easy, isn't it?
Massively soft. It's an easy dig, but you can't leave. So if you were digging a foundation for a house, so generally all the houses that you see now are built on rafts, and rafts are basically afloat, okay, with steel in, okay. So if it moves, it all moves. Yeah, it's got to be consolidated, but with a traditional dig, what they would do in a conventional footing, a foundation, you can go as much as like, you can go really deep. I mean, years ago it was like 1.5 meters in places, and in Colchester many years ago we were doing a dig nearly 4 meters. Yeah, on a conventional dig, that is.
Yeah, back home I've been on a few sites where they're going very deep.
And then what'll happen sometimes as well, like if you get to the bottom of the foundation, it's still a little bit soft. What they used to do sometimes, if there were soft pockets, because it's about getting down to the original ground level for a foundation. And if you had the odd soft pockets where the ground was undulated, because you have to get back down to what they call virgin ground. And if you had soft pockets, they would take that out, and before they were concrete, they would used to put lean mix in. So a lean mix would dry quite quickly. It would stabilize the ground, and then you could put a pour in. And then sometimes you could put steel in, or sometimes they didn't put steel in. And of course, these days they've got fibre. I'm talking about this a little bit fast at the moment now, but people are going to say, well, we're not talking about a foundation, but ask yourself this. This type of soil, I'm asking you this question now, with this type of soil, it's that soft, do you think 100mm will be? No, it wouldn't be, would it?
Nah, you need to go deeper, because even as it is now, and I mean, we're over a foot deep, aren't we, there? So, and it's still very soft.
It's still soft. Of course, I'm not sure what this site was on here, but sometimes on these general commercial sites like this, they would have recycled products, and sometimes they put it in the ground. But look how deep this is. This isn't bad soil. It needs some, some grit in there, some sharp sand, some humus-rich soil, some composting to liven it up. But it's good ground. But nevertheless, this is why patios move, because the contractor will say, yeah, I went down 100mm, but to be honest, it's not good enough, is it?
Not really, no.
No.
I'd put you back into it.
Right, there you are, right? We've had a little dig around here. Now we're starting to hit stony ground. Okay?
Yeah.
And that stony ground is, without doubt, what we call one spit, one shovelful, and that's about 12 inches below the existing level there on that side. So we're starting to hit stony ground here. And because it's a bit sort of, how can I say, it's a bit unstable, it's not like a natural dig all the way through. Well, you ought to remember is, you've got the Bristol Channel just there, haven't you?
Yeah.
So, I'm on my knees now so you don't see my belly. People keep saying about my ball day. No, what we're doing here, come and have a look at this, right?
Yeah.
If you come a little bit closer. So what we've got here, this is basically indicative of what, it's a long word, isn't it?
For you, yeah.
Yeah, this is normal, what would be laid then in these situations on new developments. They put a little bit of paving down. I don't know if the customer is asked to have this extended a little bit more or not, I don't know. But what we've got here, this is what it's been laid on. It's been laid on a stone dust bed, and they probably put a little bit of sand, a bit of cement in it, and obviously it's got a sub base. And what we've done there, if you look at it, I don't think it's going to go anywhere, but this is the way it used to be laid years ago. And if you look look at the slab now, make sure I don't get my finger underneath that now. So if you look at the slab, shouldn't be on my knees now, I just want to show you. Look how thick it is, that's about 45 mil, okay? And look how flat the bed is. So basically they've butt jointed them, and that's allowed, there's nothing wrong with that, but you can't get weeds growing in between it. There's no joint, no jointing compound at all. And that's how it's normally done on site. This is absolutely acceptable, it's a standard that it goes on a regular basis. But it ain't gonna go anywhere. They could have it a little bit more flatter, but you know, I'll be honest with you, this is where a lot of landscapers will start out on the civil side of things. And when you're on the civil side of things, working on site, and you'll always have people saying it's not the best, but I've seen some really good work by ground workers and civil engineers out there, like, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. What you find as well with these types of slabs is they'll put these little like, it's like a sealant, like a silicone in, isn't it? Like a plastic membrane, not membrane, a dab. And basically what that's for, they haven't bedded them on that, so don't be mistaken. If you're a consumer and you think they've stuck them down, they haven't stuck them down at all. And this is not spot laying. This is basically in the packaging when the slabs arrive to stop the slabs from scratching. This is not how we're going to lay this patio on this particular job. We're going to go the whole log. We're going to go type 1, we're going to go lean mix, we're going to go a semi-dry bedding course, and a slurry to stick the slab down, and everything will be adhered to the other level. This is where they've done it for years in this case, and it works for this, but this wouldn't work for porcelain. You don't want any water going through the porcelain joints if you can help it. You want the water on the surface to get away as quickly as possible. Just like in road building, we go back to that civil terms, with road building you'd have cross falls and camber to get the water from the highest points and get it away. Yes, we know that tarmac has some sort of porosity value, but the initial downpour of rain will go into the gully pots. And it's the same with porcelain. We know that the grouting system that you're using, if you use a smaller grout line, what you'll find is you won't have so much water going down, because generally the cementatious grouts, if you're using the cementatious grout, it has a porosity value, so some water is going to go through, but you want to get the water off the surface as quickly as possible. That's why they have British standards for sandstone, which is 1 in 80, okay, and porcelain is 1 in 60. But honestly, if you have a look at the fall on a 1 in 60 on the porcelain patio, it looks a bit silly. So it just seems too much of a fall in. I think they've got that wrong. So right, let's get on with it. You going?
Yeah.
Okay, well, what we got here, well, what we're going to do, the question gets asked regularly, can we use some of the existing sub base, okay, and the bedding layer in this case, can we use it for a sub base to bring up recycling? And Ryan, what do you think?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and we can, you know, so there's nothing wrong with that. Remember, what we're going to pour on top of here, we are going to put a lean mix, and we're going to put a real good lean mix on this occasion, right? Not that we haven't before, but we're really going to spend some time on it. We're going to level off, when we get some levels in, we're going to screed it off. And you know, when you make those layers every time a little bit more accurate, and each layer should replicate or mirror the finished surface of what you're doing. So if there is any water going down, it runs off. That's the idea about it. You don't have it pooling. You don't want your sub bases, this is exaggerated of course, you don't want it undulated. And you'll see sometimes where product gets put in and it gets compacted, and you know, it's not, you want a good rake hand to get on there and rake it around, get it level with it within 10 or 15 mil. You don't want it being doing that. That's not good at all, because what also happens with that when you put a type 1 in, and I've said this before, is that if it's more than 15-20 mil in undulation, what it does, it starts to unbind, because the way the stone is, because it's angular and the binding product in between, it binds it together, but it knits into each other. So when it's at this sort of angle, it can actually move around, and that's not what you want. So yeah, we can recycle, and we're going to recycle this. We're not going to recycle the slabs, because I think that somebody can use those. We could recycle if it was smashed down or even crushed. Have you seen the crushers they have on site sometimes?
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, they're good, and I think to be honest, I think that's the way it's going. That's why that's not why they've introduced them, but they've introduced them now, and I think eventually you'll see councils in areas across the country will say, yeah, just as what if you have an extension to your driveway and the SUD system, you've got to go to planning. I'm not quite familiar with all of it now because I don't do a lot of driveways, but I think it's going to come into the back gardens where what they don't want is the recycling and being pushed back into the ground, and vehicles on the road, if you can use it on site, that's what they're going to expect. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. What do you think?
No, definitely. It's all about recycling, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, I'm on the camera now, and as you can see the depth that we've dug out on there. It did slope up on that bank, to be fair. We haven't dug all that out, but there's the pile, a couple of ton at least on there. But we'll probably condition some of that and maybe use it in the planter. I'm not quite sure, or get rid of it. It doesn't matter. And yes, it would have been good to get it straight into the skip. The skip isn't here. We've made use of a good day. It's an absolutely beautiful sunny day today, and that's great for February. But you can see the base it's in. Our client can come back now and see that, and it'll sort of put them some peace of mind knowing that there's a good sub base under there initially. And remember, we've got to do something with that. We're going to shape it up. We can put Lemix on top, as I've said before, but we've made some sort of progress now anyway. That's the main thing. Let's have a little look around the garden. That's how you see it. Let's have a look over there. Got a wraparound garden. Wraparound gardens are great, I love them, because there's an air of intrigue and interest around it. That's the garage over there. It drops down around the back of the garden. Then we come around, see Ryan over there. That's the existing patio, and that's where we've dug it now. Get a little bit more perspective of where we are.